Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video, and I promise I will do a paleo primal eating update really soon. But today what I want to talk to you guys about is brewing your own kombucha. And it's something I've been doing for a while now, and it's super easy, I promise. If I can do it, you can do it. And it's so delicious, and so I just want to share it with you guys and let everyone know how easy it is, and so you won't be afraid to make your own. I'm going to assume, since you're investigating how to make your own kombucha, that you already know the benefits of drinking it. You already know about all the wonderful things it can do for you and your gut. So I'm not going to get into all that. I'm also not going to get into like the SCOBY and what it is and how it's made and all the technical things behind that. This tutorial is assuming that you already have a SCOBY. Either you got one from a friend, which is my recommended method, or you got one online. But this is not how to grow your own SCOBY. I will do one for that later, but that is not this one. So let's get started. The first thing I will do is show you my SCOBY, which has been housed in here for a little while. You can see I got my SCOBY here, and then I also have some starter tea. So it's important that when you start your batch of kombucha that you have a SCOBY, and then you also have some liquid with it, which is like called starter tea. So it's basically just leftover tea from a previous batch. So that's what's in here. And I actually got this SCOBY from a workshop that I went to. She had a whole bunch of them, and she gave everybody a SCOBY. So it's kind of nice to know where your SCOBY comes from, like lineage, I guess, or a family tree. So that is my SCOBY. So I'm going to put a cover back on it for now. And let's talk about tea. You need to use a tea that has caffeine in it. Your kombucha needs two things. It needs caffeine and it needs sugar. I like to use, right now, my favorites are this ginger pear white tea. I really love this one. And then I also love this pomegranate white tea. And both of these I just picked up at Trader Joe's. You can use green tea, black tea, any kind of tea, as long as it has caffeine in it. I know some people will mix an herbal tea, like a decaf herbal tea, with a caffeinated tea, which you could totally do that too. You also need sugar. This is pure sugar. A lot of you paleo primal people have not seen this in a long time. I know I didn't have any, and I had to go buy it. I go through sugar like crazy now because of the kombucha. And I just like a nice organic, pure sugar from Trader Joe's. It can't be honey, it can't be stevia, Splenda, heaven forbid. No fake crap, okay? It needs to be like the real deal here. And don't worry, the SCOBY eats the sugar, so when your kombucha is finally done, you're not drinking like a heavily sugared, soda or anything. It doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, so your sugar content is not going to go through the roof. So for this size, this is an old pickle jar. I like to use about a cup of sugar. So now, the thing I do first is I take my tea bags and I undo about 6 of them. So this is about 6 tea bags, and I tie them together. And I put them in a glass container, no metal, it needs to be glass or plastic. And you just let it sit. I like my tea to sit for about 15 minutes. So this is almost done. So when this is done steeping, I will take it out. But I like to have a strong brew. Now you might like to have one that's a little bit weaker. Maybe you do it for 10 minutes or whatever. But I have found with all my batches, 15 minutes of steeping for the tea is a really good amount of time. So as this is steeping, it's got about 3 minutes left. So what I'm going to do while it's still warm is I'm going to dump this cup of sugar in here. And I'm going to stir it up with my bamboo spoon. Now make sure you don't use metal, you use plastic or wood. I usually always use this bamboo one. It's just easy, and it's easy to keep clean. You also need to make sure that your hands are really clean. My hands are super clean. I washed them and then I rinsed them in vinegar. Vinegar is a great thing. I usually use I usually will rinse this out with vinegar right before I use it on my plate. I'm gonna put my SCOBY on here in a minute. I usually rinse this off with vinegar. Just it kills the bacteria, and it's a nice natural disinfectant. So I use vinegar a lot. So this is all dissolved, and it looks good. So I'm going to leave that for just a minute longer. So now, while that's almost done, I'm going to reach in here, take out my SCOBY, and I'll show it to you guys. He looks kind of weird. There's a couple layers here. You can see that I have this small one, and then I have this one that's like really big. This, I have another jar that I make kombucha in. It's a really large round one. So that's where this one came from. So this was like my mother, I guess, for this jar. So what I did was I peeled this off of my big one, and I stuck it in here. And as the tea brewed, it just made another layer. So, I mean, your SCOBY's gonna sink. Mine always sinks, and then it floats back up. Totally normal. If you put it in there and it sinks, like, don't worry about it. That's totally fine. So, just to let you know, it's freaking out. Oh my God, it's sinking! But it was okay, so no worries. Okay, so I'm gonna take this out. So my tea is done. My timer's gonna go off in a second. So between the timer and my neighbor, who's like re-roofing his house, it's kind of noisy in here, so I apologize. Okay, so now this is super hot, right? So I don't want to put this in here and then put my SCOBY in there. It's going to kill it. So what we need to do is we need to cool this off. So I have a bunch of cold water here, and I also have a bunch of ice. Now this is all filtered. There goes my timer. It's probably going to overflow. This is all filtered water from my refrigerator. I have read a lot of things say that you don't want to use the water from your tap because it has chlorine in it or whatever. I don't know. I just use filtered water from my fridge and I haven't had any trouble. I know a lot of people use tap water and they haven't had any trouble. I don't know if the boiling process of the water like eliminates the chlorine. I don't know all that. So I just know I use filtered water and it works out great. So I'm gonna get this melted. Now I always make a mess, so I should probably have an apron on, but I don't. So we're gonna cool this tea off. You can see all this ice is melting. So I know that like when you first make it, you're like, oh, there's only a little bit of water. You know, the ice and stuff adds a lot more water. Now I know some people who will brew their tea in like a teeny tiny bit of water. And I have done that too, like maybe just a cup. You know, and I'll use like 6 tea bags, a cup of boiling water, and I'll let that steep, and it works totally fine. But okay, so that is like perfect temperature. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to dump it in here. I don't want to fill it up too full. That's perfect. A couple brews ago, I filled it up too far, and then it like my SCOBY was like popping out the top. So that's basically it. This is in here. It's the right temperature. It's not too hot. And so now I'm going to put this back in here. That's it. I know I shouldn't dry my hand on this. This is my cover. So you want to just cover it with something that can breathe. You know, this is just a napkin. I have some cheesecloth that I have on some other ones, and it doesn't matter, just as long as it can breathe. And then I usually secure it with a rubber band. And that is it. That is a batch of kombucha. And so what I like to do is I will put this in my cupboard. I put it in the cupboard above my stove. It's dark. I rarely open it. And it'll sit in there for about 2 weeks. Some people like to go a little shorter. Some people like to go a little longer. I don't like a really sweet tea, and so I have found that 2 weeks is perfect, the perfect amount of time for me. You can taste it as it goes. So like in 4 or 5 days, I could taste this. And how you taste it is you just get a straw. I usually steal them from Starbucks because they're already in like the paper, and so I know they're sanitized. And I just kind of take the straw, push the SCOBY over a little bit, and then just, you know, plug it with my finger, pull some out, and taste it. That's a good way, you know, to see how your tea is progressing, see how sweet it is. You know, it's just everybody's taste is different. So I personally said I like about 2 weeks. It'll sit for 2 weeks, and then I'll do a second fermentation. So I'm going to do a video on that because I actually have a bunch of tea that I need to bottle and do a second fermentation on. And so I will get into that in just a moment. But that's it. That's how easy it is. Like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I hope this helped you guys, or if not, then I apologize. And that's it. So have a great day, and if you do make some brew, please email me or leave a comment and let me know how it turned out. If you have any questions, you can always email me, urbancavegirl@yahoo.com. And that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.